everybody. Okay, tonight we are going to construct the star blocks. This is for the Howl-lelujah Quilt along that we're doing. And essentially, okay, some of you, this is going to be really basic stuff. You experienced quilters, just go ahead and do what you do. That's fine. I'm going to walk through this as if nobody's ever made a Flying Geese unit before, okay? And y'all will not see that term in here, Flying Geese, but do they have a picture? Right. This right here, if you have a rectangular block and it's got two colors on it that go to a point in the center, that's a Flying Geese unit. And those, we're gonna make 4 of those, 1, 2, 3, 4, and put them together. So you're gonna need you're gonna need 4 of your 2.5 inch by 3 inch squares of white, and you're gonna need 4 of your 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares. I guess I should call the first one a rectangle, right? You can tell the difference. This is 2.5 by 3, and this is 2.5 by 2.5. See? See the difference in the size, okay? Each one of the 4 2.5 by 3 inch rectangles, you're going to need 2 1 3/4 inch squares, okay? I'm fixing to get my face out of here and get you guys down so you can see exactly what you need. So let me get this straight, and I'm going to point the camera down. Okay. You need 1 3 by 3 inch square of color, and then matching colors. You're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4. They make up the middle parts, okay? The centers on the left and right and the centers on the top and bottom are the 2.5 by 3 inch rectangles. You're going to need 2 1 3/4 inch squares for each of the rectangles, and then you're going to need 4 squares, the 2.5 by 2.5 inch squares. Those are going to make up your 4 corners, okay? So there is a trick to doing these Flying Geese. I don't want you to tell anybody. This is just between us, okay? If you don't do it this way, you're going to make yourself absolutely crazy doing it over and over and over again. You can be as precise as you want making these like you're supposed to according to the directions, but if you don't do this trick, you're going to be picking it out because it won't match. The idea is to create a fold, all right, and placed like this, so that you get a point. And then you're going to do it again. I'm just kind of going through what it's going to look like. Okay? Like this. This is what your finished unit is going to look like. You do not want any extra hanging over on the edges, and you don't want any extra hanging over on the back, on the bottom edge, okay? And you always want the colored intersection where the color points meet go on the inside, so you have color to color. If you have white to color, it's backwards, okay? You want it to be color to color. So let me show you how to make these so you're going to get it right the exact first time, okay? I'm going to get these out of the way. All right. What I want you to do is to get yourself either a water-soluble marker, or this is a friction pen. It will go away when it is ironed. You need to take a ruler, and I want you to put the ruler exactly on the point diagonally of the square. Exactly, okay? Don't leave any extra room. I want it exactly on the point. okay? Don't go over it. Don't be shy of it. Do exactly on the point. And then take your marker, start in the middle, and just kind of go to the tip. Try not to stretch it. And go to the other side. And you want to do this. What you have done is you have created a stitching line that is just a hair to the side of the ruler. And this accounts for what we call in the garment sewing world turn of cloth, okay? This is now your stitching line. So you're going to do that to both of your squares. I'm going to go exactly on point to point, diagonally. It doesn't matter which point you do it on because it is a square, it's not a rectangle. Okay? And it may help the shorter side, the side that was not covered by the ruler, put a little mark. All right? The side that was not, after you get done drawing the line, put a little mark there. All right? The side that has the mark, put that. You don't want to do it short ways. You want to do it with the 3 inches toward you. Your rectangle is 2.5 inches tall and 3 inches wide. You want to do this, set it up exactly on the white square, okay? You want the mark to be out toward the outer corner. If your mark is like this and your mark is toward the inside, that's wrong. You want your mark toward the outer corner. You don't want your fabric over at all, and you don't want it short at all. You want it exactly where it needs to go, and you want to make sure that your diagonal line goes from the bottom, center, out. Your diagonal line should point to about 1 o'clock, okay? If you want to, you can take a pin and just put it in here, either side of the line, it doesn't matter, just so it doesn't shift on you while you're stitching it, okay? Now we're going to stitch on the diagonal line exactly, okay? So let's go to the machine and do that. Also, we're only going to do 1 square at a time. Don't put them both on. We're not ready to do both yet, okay? 1 square at a time. Okay, this is the gorgeous Brother Luminaire from, I'm borrowing from allbrands.com. I put their name on there. Wasn't that nice of me? So, from the very beginning, I'm going to go to home. From the very beginning menu, we have sewing, embroidery, whoop, let me go back. We have sewing, embroidery, Disney, and My Design Center. We're going to go to sewing right now. You just touch it. It's so pretty. I set it on the number 3 stitch. Let me get in here so you can see what I'm doing. I think you can see pretty good there. I go to the number 3 stitch. That's right in the middle. I like that one. All right. And then something else I'm going to do, let me back out a little bit, is I am going to use this button right here that is a little line projector. I'm going to push that, and it wants, I'm going to turn it on, and can you see this got bright right here? Let me turn it off. Watch over here. It went dark. Now it's light, okay? I'll bring you in real close in a minute. Here it has main and sub, and the main one is the line that you're stitching line, all right? Your sub is your 1/4 inch line, or as wide or short as you would like it to be. So we're going to go with main right now. It has long, medium, and short. I'm leaving it on long, and you have color choices of green, white, and red. Well, since I have red fabric, I'm going to switch it to white so that you can, I think that'll work. Maybe I ought to make it green. I can't see the white. I think I'll make it green. Okay. So I'm going to get you in here real close so you can see what's going on. I don't know if you can see it. I'm going to put my fabric. Can you see this green line? Okay, this green line is my stitching line, and I have it centered right here. So I'm going to lift the foot, and I am going to put my purple line that I drew, or my blue line, and if I go off of it, I don't know if you can tell, can you see the green over here? I'm going to keep my eye on the end of this line and make sure that it stays on the end of the purple line. I know that the purple line is just a hair off the exact point. I don't care. All right, this is that trick I was telling you guys about. So I'm going to put this, and I'm not watching the needle. If you are a beginner, I want you to get out of the habit of watching the needle. The needle has a job. It knows what it's doing. Right here, we are making sure that this green line stays on my blue sewing line. It needs to have that real ugly color. So I'm going to stitch it. And I keep my eye right here. This is where I'm looking. Now we have a thread cutter button. And the Luminaire brothers, traditionally, they also have this bar down here. If you press it with your knee, it's called a knee lift. You see the presser foot go up and put it back down. I'm going to press my leg open again. It goes up, and bring my knee in, and it goes down. That's fabulous. Once you get the hang of that, it's wonderful. All right, I'm going to take my pin off. I'm going to do a little finger press, and watch. This folds over exactly where it needs to be on the fabric, and it meets at the point. That's okay. You see that? It meets just right. When you press this, it meets perfect. That's what we want. Okay, I'm just going to finger press this for now, and I'm going to get this other square that we drew. Now again, don't do it short ways, okay? You want to do it long ways. And again, you want the side with the mark to be to the outside and you're going to put it on the same side as the one you just made. Now, I want to get this point and this point to match exactly. So I'm going to put this on there first. I'm going to line up that edge right there. Okay, I'm going to put a little pin and hold it, right? You want to be sure that this remains folded down, okay? And if you're not comfortable, and you know, see, I want to make sure that it's all right, just like this. If you're not comfortable, you can get a pin and even pin all 3 layers together like that so they stay. And nobody's going to move around at all. All right, this looks good. It does not matter whether you sew from top to bottom or bottom to top. It doesn't matter either way. Again, I'm going to lift my presser foot. Well, my pin's in the way. Hold on a second here. I don't really need it. I'm doing it for your benefit. Once you get good at these, you'll be whipping them out in no time. Okay? All right. I'm going to set this exactly in the middle. I'm going to just move it a little bit so that the green line sits on top of the blue line exactly. And I'm going to go. If I can see 2 lines, it's not right. Alright, I'm going to fold this over. Look at that. That's exactly what we want. Okay, that's exactly what we want. Where's my little ruler? Look, you guys. We have exactly a 1/4 inch. From the tip to the edge of the fabric, we have a 1/4 inch. Can you see that? It's perfect. And if you look at it from this side. Good enough for government work. I think that'll work just great. Okay, this is exactly what you're after. You can now iron this down. Then you want to flip up this piece and trim a 1/4 inch. Once you know that it's going to fit, you want to do this to reduce the bulk. Just trim that like that. I would trim this before sewing, so you don't accidentally trim off that center point. That's perfect, you guys. That's exactly what it's looking for. This is still measuring. This is still measuring. Look at that. I'll put it over here. 2.5 by 3. And that's exactly what it's looking for. Look. It's perfect. Okay? So, make 4 of these. Okay, now that we have all 4 of the Flying Geese units done, we're getting a better idea of what this star is going to look like. And the easiest way to put this together is to, if you are a beginner and you want to draw your 1/4 inch seam line, that's fine, you can do that. You can get yourself a ruler that has a 1/4 inch line in it. I prefer to sew with the flat fabric toward the feed dogs, because if this goes, it can get shoved up and it can bunch as it goes through the feed dogs. That's not always the case that you can pick and choose like that, so that's just kind of something to keep in mind. Okay, so if I'm going to sew with the flat part on the feed dog, I want to mark my 1/4 inch seam here. So I'm going to take my little ruler and mark a 1/4 inch seam. This ruler is Perkins Dry Goods scant 1/4 inch seam, so my mark is really a 1/4 inch seam since it's scant. A scant is about a thread width, maybe. Okay, so maybe about as much as the pin here. Okay. Now, you need to do this, as a beginner, you would want to draw lines if you don't have lines on your machine, but I have lines on the machine. So I'm going to show you how to do it with the lines on the machine as well. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to sew 2 sets. We're going to take the middle parts and put them aside for now. Okay, we're going to do these 2 outside pieces, and we're going to sew squares to each Flying Geese unit on the outside. All right, this little ring I have here is called a thread cutters. I picked it up at the show in Houston. Absolutely love it. Very, very handy. Okay, let's sew these up. I will chain piece them. Okay, so I'm using this, I'll go back to home. We're going to go to sewing, and I'm going to go to this button right here so I can illuminate my lines to show me where to sew. And I'm going to put the white on the bottom, and I'm going to right sides together. Of course, with the white it doesn't really matter, right? So one line is going to be my sew line, and the other line is going to be my 1/4 inch seam line. And so, well, 1/4 inch line away from the seam. And so what you want to do is main, I'm going to go ahead and leave, let me turn this on. And main is going to be green. That's my stitching line. And let's make the subline red. Whoop, straight, and make it red. Can you see it? Let me zoom in. Let me get right in here so you can see. This red line is where I want the edge of my fabric to be. Isn't that handy? It doesn't really help out here because I got red fabric, but I can see the edge of the line there, so I know that that's right. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to stitch on the green line and keep the red line out here. Maybe I should change it to white. Can I see it better? Nope, can't see it. There's a green. I can actually see it better in red. Okay. And when I say chain piece, that means I'm going to do as much as I can at once. So now you can see the blue line that I drew. I'm actually going to stay. If your pieces are not exactly the same height, okay, that happens. So like here's the edge of the red and the white. Here's the edge of the red and the white together. But over here I got a little extra. You want the extra to be what's going to be on the outside of the block, not the inside, okay? This seam is going to matter because we're going to attach it to the center. So these get pressed with the seam allowance toward the outer blocks, okay? To match the inner corners, keep it as straight as possible. Okay, so we've got the two ends made now. All right, my camera battery died, guys, so this is the following day. I had to totally recreate this because I went ahead and finished my star yesterday. There are some important points that you want to match now on this centerpiece to attach these two pieces to it. Okay, so what I like to do is get my erasable pen, and right here, where those two seam lines meet, that's exactly where I want to take my ruler, and right on them I want to make myself a little line before and after, and that tells me exactly where I need to hit and then keep going from. All right, and also on the other side I'm going to do that. Now this also is not an exact science, and it takes a little bit of practice to get it right. I don't know if you can tell on this one. See how it kind of curves out here? That's because this is a bias. You know, you can work with it and play with it all you want to try to get it straight. I will tell you, if you start in, or when you think you're starting at the 1/4 inch point and you end up having to aim exactly for this line, sometimes you might have to really feel like you're really swinging in, or maybe you feel like you're really scooping down. But either way, when you get to the other end, you need to finish at as close to a 1/4 inch as you can. Okay, that's real important to start and finish at the 1/4 inch, because you can fix all sins in the end with the iron. You believe it or not, you can. I also do not recommend using steam when you're doing this. Steam is going to do nothing but distort your fabric. When you're trying to match points, I do not recommend using steam. I mean, you can use steam at the very end if you've got some waving going on, but for the most part you don't want to do that. So now I know. Now I can sew these together, and if I hit those lines in the back, my points are going to match exactly where I want them to, right here and right here. All right, so let's go to the machine. You want to start with this edge as even as possible. This takes a little trial and error, so your 1/4 inch mark might be all the way out here, but you know you need to hit that point in order to get your point right. Getting the point right here is more important than sticking to the 1/4 inch out here on the side. Okay? So right now I'm just aiming for that tip. All right, if necessary, you want to pick this up and just realign it. It's easier, instead of shoving the fabric over, it's easier to align it to pull the bottom piece and then kind of go from there and hit that 1/4 inch mark on the way out. Let's see how it looks. How nice is that, huh? Okay, so again I'm going to mark, put my ruler right on the point, and I'm making a pen line where I want to sew, and I'm going to go ahead and mark this 1/4 inch edge out here so that I start in the right place, and I'm going to do that on this one as well. Put that ruler right on the tip where the seams meet, and this, if you're just beginning, this just makes, when you mark your seam lines, it just makes life so much easier. Okay. When I do this, I pin. Now we need to nest seams. When I'm going to put two pieces like this together, I always start pinning on inner seams. So I'm going to nest these, and when I nest them, I'm going to take the one in the right hand, one in the left hand, and butt those seams right up together. And I'm going to take a pin, and when I do this, I go in one side of the thread line seam and out the other, and that holds that nest nice and tight. You know, when you're nesting regular things, sometimes it's not that big of a deal, and you can do it just by kind of pinching it. Okay, these look like they're great. See that? I don't see any big bubble there. But what I like to do here, just to keep this from going anywhere, is I'm going to pin in the middle, just like that. I don't like to sew over my pins. And I also want to do a pin at the very end so that the side doesn't go off and go wonky on me somewhere when I'm, you know, not paying attention. So, and then this, I think this will be fine. I might go ahead and just put a pin in here. Seems like a lot of pins for just a little bit of fabric, but y'all, especially with stars, you really want to be more careful on these because your points really matter. I'm going to start on that 1/4 inch mark I made. Try not to sew over your pins. Your timing doesn't like it. Here is the outcome of what I just did. When you put your ruler to create a stitch line directly on the tip of the seam, where those two seams intersected, when you put your ruler right on there, you actually, and then draw the line, you actually draw the line just a thread below where the tip is, and then when you sew it, look how precise that is. Okay? And because we nested the seams, we go take a pin and go in one side and out the other. And look at how precisely those intersections are, how precise they are, and that. So let's do it again on this other side, and hopefully my memory chip will behave itself. Once again, I put the ruler right here where the two stitch lines intersected, and I drew a line, and then I came down here and marked my 1/4 inch here at this end, and I marked my 1/4 inch here at this end. Okay, now we're going to pin it, and again you want to, now okay, look here, that came apart. See how that came apart a little bit? If that happens, don't think it'll be fine, because it's not. You need to fix it. So I'm going to turn real quick here and stitch that back down. You want to make sure that everything doesn't come apart, okay? So, all right, again, when we nest, I'm going to butt these two seam lines up together. That's why you iron them different directions. Method to the madness, right? Go in one side of the seam and go out the other side. That ensures you catch all of it. And then on this one, that looks good. I'm going to get you through this, guys. All right, in one side of the seam, out the other. All right, I like to make sure that these two edges are even, and then I'm going to take a pin and go in on this side of the intersection and out on the other. I'm going to pin these, the bottom edge together. It just keeps it from torquing off in one direction as you're sewing. Okay, and then this up here where I'm going to start, get those edges just right, and I'm going to put a pin in. All right, ready to sew. I'm going to start right on my 1/4 inch seam mark that I made with my ruler. Stop 1 stitch before the pin and pull it. I don't like sewing over my pins, it will mess with your timing. If you pull the pin on your seam intersections too soon, you run the risk of them pulling apart as you stitch. Now, if you have the line drawn, this is where you're getting ready to aim your needle for this line that you drew. On this one, I need to move it over just a little bit so I can be straight at it on target. That's the beauty of this on the Luminaire. Got that real nice laser line to show me where to sew. All right. Hey guys, look. Perfect. My camera's giving me another warning sign. I think I gotta go. All right, y'all. Go make 3 more of these.